welcome aboard the Wild Asian Monorail. My name is Roshana and I'll be your guide and driver, and you'll be my field scientist in training. After we cross over the Bronx River, we'll be transported to Asia, as if by magic. We'll be visiting animals from China to India, Cambodia to Nepal, and more. But for your safety, please remain seated at all times with your hands inside the carts. Here at the Bronx Zoo, we are the headquarters of the Wildlife Conservation Society, also known as WCS. We have scientists and eco guards working in the fields and zookeepers working here at home to protect animals all over the world. We have now traveled over 7,000 miles and arrived in Asia. Be on the lookout for animals. This is our deer meadow, but at the moment we see lots of peacocks and peafowls in the area. In the back end on the left-hand side, we'll see many more deer later on. If you see a spotted deer, those are actress deers, native to India and Sri Lanka. Most deer species start in life with a spotted coat, but their spots fade as they mature. We also have tiny black buck antelopes, white underbellies, and tan tops. Keep your eyes peeled. On your right-hand side, we're now approaching the Bactrian deer. Bactrian deer are considered a subspecies of red deer, although Bactrian deer are not red. They are pale gray gold in color, as you can see. We also have male and female bear sigas. They have a dark brown goldish color, and males have 12 to 14 points on their antlers, and you'll see those later on as well. So keep your eyes peeled for more deer along our journey. And here is Michelle with more.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm part of the Wild Asian Keeper team. We call this area Kanha Meadow, where we care for about 40 Barasingha deer, 15 axis deer, 10 black buck, and a pair of muntjac. We start our day by checking on all the animals, making sure they are healthy, behaving normally, and safe. Sometimes, fawns and calves are born overnight. Newborns are given a neonatal exam, which includes weighing, vaccination, and tagging for identification purposes. While the animals are in the meadow, we prepare their nighttime holding areas so that they have a safe and clean place to spend the night.
As we round the bend, we will now be on the lookout for another animal. So as we make our way to them, keep your eyes peeled. They'll be on the very far right side of the meadow, and we'll see them in just a little while. So here's an interesting conservation story.
Farmers in Indonesia live closely with wild animals, like elephants, which we will see shortly. WCS field staff worked with local leaders and farmers in Indonesia to come up with the Crop Protection Unit. This unit created many different ways for farming to continue in close proximity of wild animals. One strategy was to soak ropes in chili powder and place them around the crops. Elephants do not like chili and leave the farms alone, allowing the farmer and the animals to share the habitat peacefully.
This animal is on the verge of extinction. In fact, the Mongolian wild horse, old Przewalski horse, was extinct in nature, and they could only be found in zoos. Here they are. Keep your eyes peeled. You may notice they have a stockier build, shorter legs, and an erect mane, which is missing a forelock. That is pieces of mane that falls over their foreheads. You may also notice a baby foal in the meadow, only about 4 months old, and is a female. You can find our horses spending majority of their day up here, eating breakfast, lunch, and just hanging out, and enjoying their meadow, and you see they have lots of space to move around. The Bronx Zoo receives its first animals in 1902. To date, we have had over 53 Przewalski horse foals born right here at the Bronx Zoo, and you guys saw the new addition to the family. So here's a note from one of our field scientists, Jonathan Slatt.
I'm Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth, and my job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Peter Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s. On a recent trip to Kazakhstan, I thought about the ongoing successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories, to watch the impossible become possible, and to see hope restored. That's what's happening today with Peter Przewalski's horse.
And we're now on the lookout for another species. Keep your eyes peeled. They'll be in the middle of the meadow towards the back fence line. If you see a very large cow-like animal, that is our gaur. They are the largest wild cattle in the world. Males weigh over 2,000 pounds, as much as a small car. They can stand up to 6 feet tall and are 10 feet long. With their large size and impressive horns, a male gaur can fight off just about anything, even a tiger. If you found the horns to be curved, it's a female, and if the horns are straight, it's a male. Gaur were also highlighted on Season 3 of the Zoo on Animal Planet. Here's our keeper Dave with more.
Hi, I'm Dave, a wild animal keeper here in Wild Asia. When the Bronx Zoo received 2 female and 1 male gaur from the San Diego Zoo, it took a couple of introductions before all the animals were comfortable. But after a little bit of time, the 3 new animals fully integrated into the herd, and we have the family that you see today. A family group of gaur can consist of up to 40 individuals and is typically led by an older adult female called the matriarch. Since the 2 females and 1 male have been added to this family, there have been a number of offspring. This is important because gaur are considered to be a vulnerable species, so it's vital to maintain a healthy growing herd here at the zoo.
As we practice our scientific observation skills, you may be hearing a noise coming from the concrete jungle rather than an Asian one. It's easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment, but the noise you hear behind you now is just traffic on the Bronx River Parkway. And the large fence directly in front of us is used to reduce the noise of our city's traffic. So as you're on the bends, we're now on the lookout for a tiger. So please remain seated at all times with your hands and feet inside the carts. It's time to use your scientific observation skills to see if you can spot the tiger. In the middle of the meadow, keep your eyes peeled. There goes Anakin, one of our more tigers. We exhibit both here, Malayan and a more larger species. Tigers hunt a variety of animals, but they prefer wild pigs and medium-sized deer. Typically, a tiger will gorge itself on a fresh kill, eating as much as 40 pounds of meat at one time. Just think, that's about 160 hamburgers in just one setting. After a meal of that size, a tiger will usually not eat again for several days, and can sleep to well over 22 hours in the day. You can get a closer look at tigers by visiting Tiger Mountain. We're now gliding along the back of our extended version of the Gaur Meadow. Here we can find an up-close and personal around 5 p.m. As we're now approaching the back of our deer meadow, which we traveled over at the beginning of our journey. Here's where we can find axis deers, those are the spotted deers, Bactrian deer, blackbuck antelopes, and lots more, such as peacocks and peafowls in the area. Here's a little bit more about what we do here in the fields.
WCS works with many species of tigers in the wild and at the zoo. Here is a note from one of our field scientists about his experience working with rangers to protect tigers in Indonesia.
Hi, my name is Paul Manship. I'm helping the rangers of the National Park in their forest patrol. There was a time when we found some tigers footprints in the jungle. But then, we also found that some snares are installed inside the forest, which become threats to the animal. We dismantle the snares to make sure that the tigers are safe.
This next animal blends in with the muddy area it calls home. So start looking down, we're on the lookout for a little piglet called a babirusa. They have very little hair on their bodies, and their skin color allows them to blend in with the mud and rocks, making them hard to find. Babirusas are found on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. Well, please remain seated at all times as we're now on the lookout for the world's largest land mammal. Our Asian elephants, both Happy on the left, down below, and Patty to your right. Keep your eyes peeled. Well over 10,000 pounds and 50 years old each. And please remain seated at all times. Here's Happy, and on your right hand is Patty. She can eat over 200 pounds of hay each day and drink over 60 gallons of water. Behind them out is the large pool and a large tree-sized back scratcher, but please remain seated at all times. Please remain seated at all times. Please remain seated at all times. Thank you. And here's Patty. On the right, here's a note.
WCS works in the field with both African and Asian elephants. Here's a note from our field scientists who work with Asian elephants.
My name is Donny Gunaryadi, and I'm the Elephant Conservation Coordinator for WCS Indonesia. The first time I saw a Sumatran elephant, I thought, this is a magnificent creature. They will be safe because they are so big. But the truth is, they have declined 50% since the 1980s. Even though rats and insects cause more damage to crops than elephants. Because the elephant is so huge, psychologically, it seems more threatening. So when there is conflict, the farmers poison the elephants. In response, we created a crop protection unit to mitigate conflict and send the elephants back into the park. And it's been a huge success. Since we started in 2003, no elephants and no people have been killed.
And for now, on the lookout for an animal with skin that looks like armor plates, has a single horn on the front of his nose, and can weigh about 4,000 pounds. I've heard it. On the other side, we're about to see our girded one-horn rhinos. Keep your eyes peeled. The large watery area we passed on the left-hand side entering the meadow is called a mud wallow, and it's deeper than it looks. And we'll see another one on the right-hand side. But this one has been here since 1977. One of an original. You can find our rhinos spending majority of their day in there, as in now. Keep your eyes peeled to the right. Many people describe rhinos as armor-plated, but they're actually covered with a layer of skin that has many folds. Though the skin of a rhino looks thick and tough, it is actually very sensitive. So as we round the bend, here's our graded one-horn rhino, Priya, and our another rhino named Patrick, mother and son. Again, sitting in a mud wallow, it has been here since 1977. As we progress on to more animals, please remain seated and untie the curtains, as we do not want anyone touching poison ivy along our journey. And keep your eyes peeled for what's waiting for us on the other side of these leaves and trees. And here is a note about our rhinos.
The rhinos you see here are Indian rhinos. We work with habitats all over the world that are homes to rhinos. Here is a note from our field office in Sumatra, and Wulan, who works with the Sumatran rhino. Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the world's rhinos, and they are considered critically endangered.
My name is Wulan Prosperini, and I'm the Species Conservation Specialist for WCS Indonesia program. We carried out an island-wide survey of the last wild population of Sumatran rhinoceros in Indonesia. With so many unknowns on how to manage Sumatran rhinos in the wild or captivity, our studies showed definitively that we must protect them at source. The cost of doing nothing could be the extinction of the species, and I can't imagine that.
In the next area, down below, by himself with a bright orange coating, is our brown Indian muntjac, 10 to 20 pounds. There he goes. And we have another around the meadow. Very hard to find, so keep your eyes peeled. An interesting fact, they like to mark their territories using their scent glands near their eyes. And around the corner, we do have lots of little deer you'll see all over the meadow. These are what we call hog deers. They get their names because they're short and heavy like a hog. This deer also moves like a hog. It creeps, runs low, and ducks under things rather than leaping over them like most other deer. Keep your eyes peeled. When alarmed, and make a whistling sound to a warning-like bark. They are found in areas stretching from Pakistan to northern India to mainland Southeast Asia. We also have Formosa seeking deer that are native to the island of Taiwan, formerly known as Formosa. Their homes have been eliminated in the early 1970s, but they have been successfully reintroduced back into zoos. And we have two on the right-hand side. They have lots of spots. Keep your eyes peeled. And along the back fence lines with the darker coloration and shaggier coating sitting in the shade, along the back fence line, we have nilgai antelopes, the largest of the antelope species. Males have horns, while the females do not. Nilgai prefer to eat grass, but they will also eat leaves, flowers, and fruits from the trees. And on the right-hand side, directly in front, with the lighter coloration and look like they have white and black socks on, these are the sandbar deer, the largest deer in southern Asia. Males stand up to 5 feet tall at the shoulder and can weigh over 650 pounds. In the wild, male sandbar deer tend to live alone, while females live in small groups. There they go. And now less than 40 pounds, China tufted deer is often easy to miss and very hard to find. Very small, brown and bony, blending in with the trees, leaves, and even the rocks. You can find them along the entire back fence line. So, time to use your scientific observation skills and see if you can spot one. But it's okay if you can't, they're very good at hiding. These little deer are very rare to use outside of China. But sit back and relax as we cross back over the Bronx River. Thousands of commuters cross this waterway every day, but underneath our elevated tracks, the river rushes along, providing a habitat for ducks, turtles, fish, and migrating birds. If you look carefully, you can see a lot of fish and turtles. So sit back and enjoy the views. We're now coming into the home of the Encore and Himalayan tar. The rocky terrain in this area is the perfect environment for these species. Both are adapted to climbing rugged mountain slopes. Let's take a look at their horns. If you found the horns to be curved like a corkscrew or a curly fry, and the animal has a main leg around its neck, that's the male Encore. Encore are the largest of the wild goats. The horns on a male can grow to be almost 5 feet long, while the horns on a female don't grow as long, but do have similar spirals to the males. While they primarily graze on grasses, they have been known to climb trees to reach fresh leaves. And the babies you'll see around the meadow are only about 4 months old. Keep your eyes peeled. And if you found the horns to be curved backwards, you are looking at a Himalayan tar. We have an all-female group at the moment. Himalayan tar are relatives of the wild goats. The tars have hooves with special rubbery cores that help them grip the rocks, much like the sole of a boot. Well, get your cameras ready and your eyes ready for something red, furry, and usually in the V of the trees. Down below, on your right-hand side, is a red panda named Lioness. Lioness is not a relative of the giant panda, but is a relative of skunks, weasels, and raccoons. But he does eat bamboo and loves to feed on leaves. In Nepal, the red panda is called Hun Ho, which roughly translated means firefox. The Chinese word for red panda translates to small bear cat. To see my red pandas, visit our Himalayan Highland exhibit located just a short walk from the Monorail. There you can also see one of Asia's big cats, the snow leopard. We also have a leopard next door in Jungle World with lots of monkeys, otters, kangaroos, frogs, snakes, and much more, even crocodiles. We also have a treetop adventure here at the Bronx Zoo where you can visit and go ziplining straight across the Bronx River, which we just traveled over. But as we round this bend, our journey is almost at an end. You have heard from some of our animal experts here and in the field, and tried out some of your own scientific skills while on this ride. I hope you guys had fun and been inspired by what you have heard and seen today. So make some noise if you guys had fun on this ride today. I love it. Well, remember, the Bronx Zoo is a part of the wildlife content